What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the BlockHash podcast. Today, I have another exciting guest for you. Sarun is the co-founder and CEO of Playbux, a very interesting cashback model-esque business that he's got going here within the fintech Web3 space. I'm excited to have him on the show to talk about what they're doing and how they're kind of pioneering something new within the virtual and e-commerce space. Sarun, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for having us on the show. I'm calling from Thailand, so very nice to meet everyone on the show.
Excellent. How's Thailand this time of year?
It's raining every day, actually. This is like the monsoon season, and flooding
Ooh.
is everywhere. But luckily, I'm on second floor, so it's not that bad yet. Hopefully, the rain will stop soon. But yeah, definitely a lovely country.
Yeah, I've heard about the monsoons. Does it just kind of sweep in for like a couple days, a couple weeks, or what does that entail?
Months, yeah,
Oh,
months
months.
usually last for like a couple of months. So, I've been up north. When I went to a meditation retreat last weekend,
Hmm.
it rained for the whole 3 nights that I was there. It never stopped. So it was pretty fun. And when it rained, the lights go out because of electrical shortcuts. So that was quite interesting to be in total darkness in the middle of nowhere. It was quite for the normal people. I think it would have been quite scary.
But it's very normal there. So you guys are just kind of like, this is no big deal. But I imagine the tourists are probably like freaking out.
Yes, and it's a good experience.
Sarun, tell me a little bit about your background. I'm sure it's very interesting, and I'm curious, I'm sure other people will be too, about your journey and kind of what led you into the Web3 space. I know it's very unique for everybody. It was unique for myself. So what's your unique story?
So my unique story is very unique, I guess. So I've traveled the world quite a lot. I was born in Thailand, and then around 10, when I was 10, I moved to England. Then I studied there a little bit. I learned the culture, loved it. England, I loved it a lot. I grew up in the countryside in England with all the sheep and cows and the seaside. So a very good memory from 10 to around 16 years old. But as you grow up, testosterone kicked in, and then the cows and the sheep just wasn't enough. So I moved myself out of England. I shipped myself to New York, right? Albany, of all places, because back then, imagine that was about 1996 around. There was very little internet. 1996 internet wasn't around. So when I moved, I was kind of like I imagined New York being New York City, right? So I thought the whole of
Hmm.
New York was basically New York City. So I didn't research. I just moved from England to New York thinking that I was going to have the time of my life, with lights and sound and everything, and living on my own, because I was 16. I was actually the youngest freshman in my college, because I skipped 2 years. I took the
Hmm.
SAT quite early and passed. So I was accepted to this really good school in Albany called Rensselaer. And I was there thinking that the 4 years was going to be more like partying as a main lifestyle, and then studying
Hmm.
as the backup, like part-time studying. But as it turned out, Albany was actually much quieter than England. So I ended up just being stuck in my room, and between college and my room. And yeah, and actually we at that college we learned a lot about computer science, because it was quite way ahead of the time. At the time, at 1996, I was in the class. So at the time, it was way ahead. They had me do like startup workshops and learn about it. Back then, it was called GUI, graphical user interface, but right now it's called UX UI, right? So we learned that 30 years ago, and they had us do startup, like fake startups. What do you call accelerators?
Hmm.
Imaginary startups for
Sure.
projects. So that really sparked, the startup scene because back then there was only, I think, Alta Vista. I'm not sure if anybody remembers, even way before Google. All of these startups were very early, and there was not much like startup scene as of today, but it was like the very early first wave of .com. So that really sparked, my entrepreneurial journey, right? To learn from that, and to understand, and just to plant a seed, just a little seed in my brain, that okay, that's this thing going on, this scene, that where after I graduate I can maybe do. So that's like the rough like background, educational, and how I formulated early rational thinking, into the startup path. But it really kicked off when I moved back to Thailand. I was 20. I graduated when I was 20. I couldn't even buy a drink back then in America, because the legal age was 21. So I moved back to Thailand, and I worked for a bank, Merrill Lynch in Thailand. So I did like 2 years of investment banking in Thailand, and the Asian crisis happened, the 1997 or 8, not the hamburger, the tom yam kung, the Asian financial crisis happened. So I left investment banking and started my own first .com like project, right? So back then I did like super fantasy games, it was called. Basically, it was a SaaS, fantasy sports SaaS engine. SaaS is a software as a service. So it's quite advanced. Imagine this going on 30 years ago, right? This
Oh
was
yeah.
around first company 30 years ago doing SaaS, fantasy football. And we accumulated over, I think, 1 million players in the first season, because I did the SaaS system for one of the biggest Asian portal called catcher.com back then. They were one of the biggest Asian portals in Asia. So we had a lot of users, but because that was back then, 30 years ago, there was no credit card system, right? So it was not like today where you can just pay everything online. Back then, there was no credit card on ramp, off ramp. And so it was all sponsorship based back then, advertising, CPM. It was very early days. So we couldn't monetize, right? So we couldn't monetize, and we had to pivot to another business. And I guess Playbux is just a continuation of like three other pivots from that to here. So it's been a very long journey. Right now I'm like 50 years old, right? I graduated at 20, so it's been a 30-year long accumulation of, I guess, success and failure, which has accumulated. I guess you can call it snowballed into what is today called Playbux.
Well, first off, you still look good. You don't even look like you're 50.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess it's the background,
I
the
know
lighting.
this industry will age you, but you're doing well. And then I guess, was it something in particular with Web3 that caught your curiosity? For a lot of people, sometimes it's Bitcoin. For me, it was Ethereum. Was it like one of those in particular that kind of sparked this idea behind maybe what Playbux could be? Or was there some other route?
Many, it was a combination of many things. So Playbux we started 3 years ago, right? And back then it was the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook rebranded to Meta. So I thought that was fascinating, because metaverse was new. They claimed it was new, but it was actually copied. I guess it was not copied. I guess you can call it evolved from things like, if you remember 30 years ago, there were games like Command and Conquer. There was like very like Sim City. I guess it's an evolution of those games, right? And people just rebrand it and make it cooler, call it metaverse. But at the time, a very good story is that we were doing cashback system for some of the biggest telecom companies in the world, right? Like Vodafone, like AIS in Thailand, like Indosat, the Ooredoo group. So we were doing cashback systems for them. And at the time, Binance was hosting season 4, acceleration program. And we thought, okay, why not combine cashback and metaverse? Just combine it and then see where it goes. So we just had like a general idea of what it could be. And another really good story is that I had a nephew. I have a nephew. At back then he was 5 years old. So he kept asking me to play this really cool thing called Roblox. I'm not sure if you have kids. Roblox is actually one of the biggest metaverse, I think, in the world. But
Massive.
it's
Yeah.
massive. It's got tens and millions of kids playing it daily, weekly, and monthly. But the problem is 10 years old, they don't really have money, right? So I thought, why not combine that idea of Roblox and shopping and commerce into a cashback like system? So, we pitched it to Binance. We had a couple of, the first pitch was they gave us 5 minutes, very short. And, luckily we passed. And then we had the second round and the third round. I think it was, if I remember correctly, we had to pass 3 judges, judging round, very tough. They had 700 projects pitched that year. And we were one of the 12 or 14, I don't remember correctly. I think 12. They invested 12 projects, and luckily we were one of them. And hence, that was the start of the Playbux evolution from the cashback business into like a hybrid cashback metaverse.
Interesting. Congrats on that. I know that stuff is really competitive to get funding for and to get into. That's interesting to combine it and make it also like a metaverse experience. I guess how does Playbux work? Like, is that something that's like a separate element to Playbux, or do they all like come together? Like you go into the metaverse. How does it work? You tell me.
It's a good question, because we had to really think about, okay, the metaverse at the time, there was Sandbox and
Hmm.
Decentraland, doing really well. And we thought, okay, if we just became another Sandbox, Decentraland, it would have just replicate, or basically it didn't differentiate a lot. So we thought, okay, why not make it a little bit different? Because we're new, and it's an open world. Web3 is very open. It still is, it's still very young. So I thought, okay, let's take our own path and make it more open, right? So hence the word Playbux, very open, very unstructured. So anything that's entertaining, we can do. So shopping, gaming, um, like DeFi, and anything Web3 that's entertaining, we can do. Right now, if you go to playbux.com, you can shop and earn cash back. You can play games and earn money. So anything that you can do on Web3 and earn a little bit, like the biggest X to earn, I would say at one point we're the biggest X to earn project in the whole world on Web3, right? We have you can watch movies. We have partnerships with the biggest streaming platform in the whole world, 3 times bigger than Netflix. A lot of people think Netflix is the biggest, but Netflix, they have like 200 million subscribers in the world. We signed an exclusive global partnership with iQIYI. iQIYI is like China, right? From
Hmm.
China. So they have 600 million
Oh,
active,
wow.
600 million global members worldwide in 10 countries. They're actually in Canada, America, Thailand, 10 countries. We signed global partnership with them so you can go to Playbux right now and watch free movies, free series, and earn NFTs. You can earn like digital prizes, right? So that's fun. So we're not doing one thing, because the word play implies that you can do anything for fun and earn digital prizes and small rewards from Playbux. So right now, funny enough, we just launched a very uh, attractive offer, kind of like a lottery, where you can earn lotto. You can earn lotto and win the grand prize of the last month was $600,000 for free, but this month it's around $300,000. So that's our new product, which is very well liked at the moment. Yeah.
With the e-commerce aspect, do you guys work directly with retailers and they put their products on the platform and then, you can get cash back through, purchasing those? Or is it like smaller vendors and more like an Amazon-esque kind of thing and anyone can kind of put inventory up there? Or is it a combination of both? Or what does that kind of entail?
We have 10,000. We have over 10,000 global merchants
Hmm.
on the platform. So you can have Nike, Adidas, Amazon, and it's localized. So it looks at your IP address and it offers you local merchants. So there's not much smaller SMEs, businesses. It's more global brands because we
Hmm.
want to cater to the global audience
Okay.
with trust and reputable brands. Yeah.
And then is it physical products as well?
Yeah, it's actually Web2 physical products,
Okay.
but the amazing thing is you earn digital crypto cashback. For example, in this case, you can earn USDT as cashback. So I think this is a very good. I think this was one of the reasons that Binance invested early on, that they wanted to bring the typical shopping experience into Web3 and onboard the next billion users through e-commerce.
How does the metaverse aspect work too? Like, can I like jump into the Playbux Metaverse and have my own little Roblox-esque kind of character and go do things and
We just launched the alpha version about 2 months ago, and that's exactly the feel.
Mm.
That's the link. If you go to playbux.com, there's a link to the alpha section. We built it on Unity, right? So it's a very
Okay.
Roblox style 3D. It's similar to Decentraland, but there's more offerings. There's like shopping, there's gaming, there's many functions in there. Yeah, so we have both like the web-based Web2 style website, and then we have the 3D environment where you can just feel the experience. Yes.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Unity quite a bit. I was one of the pioneering members for Crypto Voxels when Crypto Voxels was kind of at its height for a while back in like 2017, 18, 19, pre-pandemic. Um, and it was a fantastic project. It really had like a Minecraft feel to it, and I loved being able to chuck down the blocks and and buy those properties on chain. Um, but it'll have a feel kind of like that, right? You'll be able to interact with that universe, and then play around, earn cash back, doing different things.
Exactly. So that's the direction that we try to dabble in, and then see the comparison between, okay, the metaverse feel and then the Web2 like traditional website UX UI feel, to see which one performs better, and then
Hmm.
we'll decide ultimately, okay, which path is more user friendly, and then which path is more which path has got better retention, and organics and DAUs, MAUs, and all that, and yeah, and then we'll decide the clearer path down the road, because it's a very new business that we're in Web3, and people very different, in Web3 to Web2. So you need a lot of experiments, and you need to be very open to new ideas, new changes, and it's very dynamic, right? And as you know, because there's new products every day, you have to be on. And the tough thing is technology is so fast now with AI and
Hmm.
everything um, up and coming. So we have to move very fast.
Well, what are your plans of incorporating AI? What would that look like with Playbux?
That's a very tough question. It's very good, and luckily we've prepared this about a couple of years ago. About 7 years ago, we while we were doing the cashback experiment, we started developing our own AI logic, and it got sponsored by the government, right? So we we've really tried to understand, okay, because think back 7 years ago, if you ask anyone what AI is, it would have been quite new, because back then there was no open AI, there's no chat GPT, and it was still very fluid, right? But now I think you can see the structure, you can see the direction where it's going. And luckily but the tough thing is the logic, right? The tough thing is the learning algorithms and machine learning to really understand the data. So lucky we have that 7 years old shopping data. We have like data from shopping of, we have around 1 million users from shopping alone, from cashback, 1 million users per year. So it's quite a lot. So we can really understand what a person likes to shop, based on their shopping experience. And we can use all the data to what do you call it, project in the future what to offer them with this AI. And this AI brings together everything, all the inputs from our users in Playbux, right? Because in Playbux you have shopping, you have gaming, you have DeFi, you have like lotteries and many other services like movies. So what we do is that we bring all of the data points from all of these activities to really understand, okay, what does Brandon like? He likes this movie, he likes this color. What is he shopping for? What grocery, what smell does he like? What sound? What perfume? So we really understand our user quite well. And what we've done is to bring together all of the different activities into one understanding of who you really are, what should we offer them. And in the long term, I think the more data we collect, the better we can offer them upselling services, products, and anything related, in Playbux. So I think this is a very fascinating area, and luckily, we've studied it for over 7 years, and we are quite we understand it quite well.
Yeah, AI is a fantastic and very interesting technology. I mean, obviously being able to aggregate and analyze data points and create those avatars, like even for myself, like I was shopping online and I like certain, flavors of ice cream, or I like certain types of clothing or certain styles, and then being able to aggregate that, put that together, create my persona, and then be able to offer me better products or help me find discounts somewhere. I think it's really fascinating. I think AI is really going to, and just like the metaverse, revolutionize the retail industry. I just think it hasn't clicked for people yet. Um, but I could see it doing a lot of things for you guys. Do you guys have like any like built-in browser extensions or anything like that for Playbux yet? Like I have ideas, like when you think about it, like maybe having like a Playbux Chrome extension with an AI component, and maybe like let's say you're shopping on a different retailer's site, and then you're looking for a new water bottle, but it's also on Playbux's e-commerce store. And then maybe you can have the AI application pop up and say, "Hey, I know you've been looking for this a couple of times on a couple of sites. You can get cash back and save X amount of dollars in P-Bucks tokens, by doing it through your guys' e-commerce site." Like I could see some really cool integrations there.
Definitely. We are thinking about, we don't call it extension. We call it like personal assistant, right? I mean, something similar. I mean, it's just a wordplay. We Once we understand what Brandon really likes, the colors, the flavors, the senses, because humans are actually very similar. We have like five senses, right? You have sight, sound, smell, taste. I mean, touch. So what we want to do is really understand, okay, what is your favorite flavor, color, sight, what kind of touch do you like? And then this assistant will offer you, similar to what you said, that's that browser extension. If there's a deal, there's cashback on this item, we know you're going to like it. And the good thing is that Playbux, we have multiple services. For example, imagine you watch, let's say, what's one of the last movies I went to was Top Gun, the latest Top Gun, right? So that was it was quite long ago.
Great movie.
Because that's brilliant. Yeah. So we imagine watching. You know that I like Top Gun. I'm. Let's say there's a new product based on, let's say, a bomber jacket, like, or a Tom Cruise like sunglasses. If our AI can detect, the coloration, will offer it to you through our assistant. So that's something definitely, and then you can offer the cashback on top. And then when you walk to our movies, definitely you know you're gonna offer movies based on flying or Tom Cruise, and you can see the pattern. So I think we're very lucky that we've made Playbux very open, entertaining, not just not just one product company. So this gives us the capability, because the most important thing in AI, don't forget, is the data, and this is what a lot of companies do not have. And I think this is going to be a big problem in the future, where data becomes the new, like, oil, becomes the new gold.
It already
And
is.
it already is, right? And a lot of people are going to have issues with not having your own data. And then I can see a lot of companies being sued for using other people's data and then scraping from, the internet, other people's data. Because in the future, I can see data being like walled off very easily. And luckily, we have continuously built our own data center for the past 7 years to collect a lot of user data. So I think that's something very value adding for us in the future. And then it's also good for the users, right? If we know kind of like in advance what you might like, so that we can offer it to you at the right time and the right place and the right price.
Yeah, data is definitely, I think you said it well, is going to be, I think it already is like the new oil and currency of the world, especially of the tech world. I've seen big tech companies do crazy things just to get a hold of more user data. We see it all the time. What do you guys have in place for, maybe user protection around user data as well? I know that's a very sensitive thing for a lot of people, with how predatory some very large tech companies can be, without naming too many names. Like, is there any way for users to manage that data? Maybe even put in additional data and actually just tell your guys's platform or AI, hey, like this specifically, I like these things, but please don't show me this. Like, is there a way to customize that?
That's I think a very good question, because I think right now, we're in an age where data privacy um, is so sensitive, right? And this is a good thing about Web3. And Web3, all you need is a wallet, right? And you become unknown, you become the avatar, and I guess it protects you. But then again, when you come to our site, we always have these accept all, data privacy acts and everything.
Hmm.
But then again, you because you're using a MetaMask or something, ultimately you're protected personally from your actual name, address, or I think this is the advantage of Web3. However, because of our experience with dealing with telcos, and some of the biggest telcos in the world 5 years ago, from doing enterprise cashback system, we had to find a workaround to understand who our users are without knowing who you are. I'm not sure how to explain it. Just through a proxy, we have
Hmm.
to work back, like re-engineer to understand your likes and dislikes and everything through data, through just understanding data only. So that's always been our strength, because working with the biggest telcos in the world, they do not give you the name, phone number, emails, or anything. All we get is the execution of the orders, and what you like, what you don't like, and then we know, okay, it's from this IP, it's from this guy. So I guess at Playbux, we're the same, because we're Web3, right? We only have the wallet address. So I guess you're protected in that sense, right? You're anonymous, but then we still know what you like, but we still don't know who you are, and we don't know your phone number, or unless you intentionally tell us because you want to improve the personal experience.
Who are some of you guys' partners and investors? I saw that Binance Labs was one. Obviously, I think we chatted about it earlier. I've seen Visa as well on your guys' website, and like a whole list of others. So you guys have definitely been getting a lot of support.
Definitely, I think after we got the green light, the rubber stamp from back then CC was I think the main CC and He was the main decision maker. Definitely the Binance Labs brand definitely attracted a lot of big names. So we are actually the first Web3 company to be in Visa Accelerator Global Program, because 3 years ago, 2 years, I think it's almost 3 years ago, Visa is still very hesitant because Web3, it's
Hmm.
quite, how should I put it? It's quite risky for big brands still back then, 3 years ago, because of all the, the nasty reputation of
Hmm.
scams, and there's a lot of negative, but that's also positive because they know that it's going to be the future, right? So they wanted to invest in something safe, and they chose the Playbux, because of our safe looking branding and very open to e-commerce. And e-commerce and Visa is very a good combination because people like to spend on that Visa card. So luckily we attracted some of the biggest names in the world. Visa in fintech, Binance is definitely the biggest in Web3, and we had people like Justin Sun, investing, and Certic, one of the biggest auditing company in Web3. So a lot of great names trusted us, so that's good. They still do. And I think the only thing is the market. The market, I can't deny, the market has been very, very tough on altcoins. We're on altcoins still.
Hmm.
So the market has been quite tough for the valuation. But then again, I think this is global, right? And once the bull run actually is official, we can do a little bit better.
In the US, there's a recession that's like about to hit at any point in time. I think it's just kind of teetering on the presidency come November, and a lot of that stuff reverberates around the world. And then we have war and all this chaos and all this drama. And it's really hard to have a positive, bullish market where everyone feels confident in speculating and investing money, even in traditional markets, when all this stuff is going on. So I'm very optimistic about 2025 and going forward. I think it's just a matter of things settling down a little bit more for people to feel a little bit more secure. But I think we'll get to that point pretty soon. I mean, what are your thoughts on the overall state of the ecosystem and in the industry right now?
It's heading to the definitely the right direction. We have way too much infrastructure now, to be honest. It's way overinvested, too many L1s, too many L2s. So that's not a worry anymore. Right now, the worry is how do we actually get that promise of the next billion. We've been talking about this next billion for the past, like, forever. The past like 2 or 3 cycles, we'll get the next billion. But I to be honest, I have to say we have not done the best job. We, meaning the industry, have not done the best job of adopting mass adoption. I think it's because I don't think it's a UX UI problem. I don't think it's a tech problem. I think it's more than a trust. I think it's a trust problem because there's so many negative, news around scams and everything in Web3. So I think
Hmm.
a lot of people are skeptical, about losing money or being scammed in Web3. So I think this is a big area where we need to improve so that the whole ecosystem can grow and be a little bit safer because all of this, the new billion people going to come to Web3, they're very new. They're very they're not well versed in wallets and protection, right? So I can understand that they're very scared about losing money, being scammed, and everything. So I think this is one very challenging area. We need to correct the image and project a very safe, it would never be safe, but a much safer environment for the new people. Otherwise, that's just going to be, all this tech, and it's going to be a ghost town. You have an overbuild,
Hmm.
overcapacity of everything, massive investments, but no users. Because if you look at all the Web3, projects, we all have the same problem. That is, the utilization rate, and this is like an ongoing ecosystem problem, which it's not just us, it's like the whole industry-wide problem that everyone would need to help solve.
I talk to a lot of projects and a lot of companies and a lot of startups, and it's always the same thing, and it's user interface and user retention. And there's amazing tech out there, especially in Web3, and it's crazy what people continuously come up with on a month-to-month basis, sometimes on a daily basis. And there are certain spots within Web3 like tokenization or DeFi, they're just like absolutely booming in terms of innovation right now, but people don't know how to fucking use it. Pardon my language, but it's like, when are we going to learn that, most people are on their phone, they're not on their computer, for one. Two, how are we going to learn that if you have tech, but it's too clunky and you have to bridge X to Y, you have to learn all these different blockchains and you have to learn which tokens to use, and onboarding requires you to go to 3, 4 different places. Why would anyone use it? Especially when the attention span on a graph is continuously going down by generation. It's terrible for Gen Z. It's even worse for Gen Alpha. And if we're in a period of mass adoption the last couple of years, and all they've seen is scams and failed exchanges and clawbacks and things like FTX and things like Terra Luna, and then it's just like, on top of it being this complicated, why would they want to use it? Why would they trust it? So it's this constant theme. And I'm like, guys, just make it simpler. Blockchain, I'm sure you would agree, is a back end technology, not a front end technology. It's, when you use the internet, when you go to Google and you look up how to make popcorn, nobody cares how Google got that information and gave it to you. They just want the result. They want to push a button and have it work. So we got to have that in this industry, where the crazy awesome stuff that we love is on the back end, but for an everyday user, especially someone that's migrating from Web 2, can just push a button and get a result, right? Or make it super, super easy. I think that's something we really need to work on.
For sure, I would totally agree with that. I don't think the new users, the typical new user, I don't think they care about the TPS or which chain you're on. All they care about is how do I make the money? How do I make this APY of 18%? How do I get that? But right now, me myself, to be honest, I've been trying to stake, but on things like Athena, or on all these DeFi farms, right? And it does take a lot of jumping around, understanding, deep digging, like you said, cross chain, bridging this to that to this, and in between, I have to be extra careful of the correct website. I'm not being what do you call it, fooled, and because there's a lot of phishing and stuff. So that's a scary part for me, being scammed.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Web3 since before it was even called Web3. And that was like 2013, 2014. So I've been around a while and I've watched it evolve, and I've still been scammed plenty of times. I have horror stories.
Me too.
So
Me too.
like,
It's battle scars, man.
I know. So if we've been around so long and we're dealing with it, how's an ordinary person supposed to figure it out? So, that's the magical question that I think we'll hopefully get around to at some point. Playbux is available globally, right? Anyone can use it in pretty much any jurisdiction, or what are the restrictions there?
Anywhere in the world, we've designed
Okay.
it so if you look at our design, we've made it very safe, very Lego style, block style. We try to design something that's non-gender, because with all the things going on in the world
Sure.
culture right now, if you go to Playbus, you can't tell there's no male female. It's just blocks. It's just very safe, neutral, and I think that's something we've done really well. Hence, we had great utilization rate. At one point, we are actually the number one blockchain on BNB chain, with the most usage and the most fees and everything. So I think the proof is definitely there. The proof of execution, is definitely done right. So definitely, I think we have a good start, but right now we just have to find a way to. I think, as you said, it's the same as every other projects, right? You have a good start, and then because the universe is so small, how you
Hmm.
hit a brick wall, you hit a brick wall with this. We're fishing in the same pond of like 300,000 users. Right now, I think roughly that's like 300,000 users on around. So we hit a brick wall of this. How do we bring the next billion? And we've been it's like the same problem with everyone. When is this next billion going to come?
Yeah, how are you guys getting over that hurdle? Is it more of a marketing thing for you guys, getting as much exposure as possible, or trying to establish your guys' presence in other markets, or what strategy are you guys taking to continuously grow Playbux?
It's actually tougher than the tech part, the user acquisition, the how do we get over this hurdle of the next wave of users. To be honest, we're still learning. This is the egg we haven't cracked, and this is why we're on this show, to try to spread the word, to do more shows, more PR, more marketing. And it's tough, to be honest, because right now, if you look at the social interest on blockchain and Web3 for the past 6 months, it's been down a lot, and this is something the industry cannot deny, because Web3 is tied to Bitcoin price, and this is something which is uncontrollable. And Bitcoin price is tied to macroeconomics. It's tied to like interest rates. It's tied to like the yen. I mean, it's surprising how Bitcoin or Web3 is all tied to global events like Iran, Iraq, yen, dollar reverse trade, everything. I mean, it's crazy, and these are the things that when we started off, we never imagined that we'll have all of these external. So let's forget about external issues, right? We cannot control. That's hard enough. And how do we get in the most? I think there was one study. I looked at the chart. The chart. They said this is actually the most bearish market sentiment we've had in the past a long time. But it's crazy because Bitcoin is still hanging around 60K, 58, 59K.
Right?
But then the sentiment, the feeling inside of all this is the industry. So if the industry experts or the people in the industry is feeling bearish, how can people outside feel bullish or feel like, hey, I want to try like Web3 products? I think it's going to be quite a tough sell unless we see Bitcoin jump to like 100K, and then everything is rosy again, and the masses just jump back in because of this promise of the payoff.
We will. We're getting close. I think the difference right now is we're in the middle of something that hasn't happened in Web3 in a long time, and that's institutional involvement and huge amounts of interest from asset managers and players, even VCs. Like VCs are investing tremendous amounts of money into this space, more than they were even in 2021. And then obviously you have BlackRock, Fidelity, State Street, some of the biggest asset managers in the world pouring now billions of dollars into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now pretty soon other altcoins as well. The money is there and it's propping up this ecosystem, and they're in it for the long haul. That's primarily why Bitcoin has been so stable around its all-time high, with the world being at maximum chaos. It's quite weird to see, but once the retail market gets back into it, things are going to pop, and it's going to pop very fast. Not just from a price standpoint, but from a usability and acquisition standpoint. I think it's going to be very, very exciting, and I think that'll start happening next year. I think once things cool down a bit.
And we need that. I think the whole industry need that because we've been in
Mhm.
a sideway, kind of like sideway down, market for the past, I don't know, 6 months. It's been so boring, right? Because we all, Web3 people, we're risk. I would say we're on the scale of risk. I think we're on the like on the cliff, right? We're on the flat bar, right? We love risk. We like volatility. We like
I think
things where
we love risk a little too much.
a little too much. But like you said, it's been crazy. It's almost stable coin, like 59, 60K.
Mhm.
Bitcoin has been very safe, very in this bandwidth forever, and we need to break out of it. And I think the project owners like us, we just can't wait for that, for the uptrend.
Well, I think you guys are positioned very well, and I think Playbux is doing some incredible stuff. and I'm excited to use it and play around with it as well. It's very cool what you've built. What's on your roadmap? What's next? Do you have anything coming up that's maybe exciting for users in terms of new updates, functionality, features? Are you guys going to any external events or doing anything publicly? What do you want people to be aware of?
Sure, we have many products coming up. We have a new game coming up. We have the new Conquer to Earn upgrade coming up next couple of weeks. That's an amazing game. It was so well liked. So basically, it's like Conquer to Earn is when you try to buy pixels from other countries. For example, if I'm in Thailand, I try to grow Thailand as big as possible. It's a simulation of is basically like almost a social experiment of what's going on in the world right now. About land grab and everything. So
Hmm.
we just wanted to see how that went, and then it went off. It just blew up. So it did really well. So we launching the new edition very soon, where you can have new, stronger like bombs or stronger nuclear like events where you basically, well, I don't want to say it, but it's basically life imitation, right?
Hmm.
So that's one product, and then there's other products like a new game coming out similar to. So it was inspired by this game called Clash Royale. It's like a person v person. It's like a tower conquering towers. Um, so I think this is an innovation in Web3 where you can challenge other people for their NFT. So if I beat your tower, if I, let's say, destroy your tower, I win all of your NFTs. So it's going to be quite an interesting game that's coming up in 3 months. So that's, I think, another fun game. We have another game launching soon, but I don't want to disclose it yet because it's still under wraps. So we are very focused on gaming right now. We have a lot of gaming, new games coming out, Conquer to Earn, and this new game called Bugs Royale, and other smaller games. Please just stay tuned. But these are the two main games, very big games coming out. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how the Web3 community play it.
Exciting. Where can people find the website, jump into the metaverse, or check it out? I know it's an alpha. Do you guys have a community? Where do you want to send people?
Sure. So there's playbux.co is the main website, and then there's Discord. We have Telegram. We have Twitter. Please just you can Google Playbux on Twitter. Playbux.co. So please follow that. Or there's Discord, Telegram. Please join. But the main media center, you can just log into playbux.co, and then we always update the website, and it's very active. We have many users playing it every day, and there's a lot of free stuff on it. Like if you like movies, you can watch movies for free. If you like shopping, you can shop, and there's lottery for free. So right now you can win 300,000 worth of dollars worth of prizes for free daily. I mean monthly, and that's an ongoing event. So every month we try to give out around $300,000 worth of prizes.
So, Run, this has been amazing. I'm excited to start earning my cash back already in P bucks. But no, this has been great to learn about, and I think you guys are building something that's quite awesome in terms of combining the idea of e-commerce with Web3 and some other elements, including the metaverse, maybe AI at some point, maybe other technologies. I like that you guys are incorporating a lot of gaming elements too. I think that merges very well with Web3 and can be a lot of fun for people. Good entry point, especially for new users. But keep up the great work, man. This Playbux, you got something good there.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you, everyone, for listening. So I'm very happy and honored to be here, and hopefully we can come to your show again and update our situation very soon.
We'll definitely do a follow up episode again soon. But in the meantime, take care, man, and we'll talk soon.